What's up, y'all? You are now tuned into my podcast. I'm SF Johnny, Seriously Focused Johnny. You are tuned in to Difficult People Chronicles. Today's episode is called um, The Root of All Evil. I almost forgot. The root of all evil. When I was young, I thought the root of all evil was money. But then as I got older and started, I was into these mystery shows and all that other stuff. And then I said, the root of all evil is people. People. Because it says, what would they do for money? You watch TV, the news, and you see people killing people for like $5,000 and $10,000. They get paid for hire, so they go and they're supposed to go kill a person. And once they do it, they're supposed to get paid $5,000. But then what happens is they never get the money, and then they go kill off the person that that was supposed to give them the money, or things happen, just takes a bad turn, or the person end up in jail who hired them. Then you have siblings arguing over as little as $200, where it ends up in somebody going to jail. Then you have the music industry, like we all know, where greed is heavy, power is heavy, and the want for money is heavy. And it's called avarice. Avarice is a strong desire for money and possessions, but I'm going to add power to it. And the reason why I add power to that definition is because you have people nowadays that they do not have common sense. The light does not turn on upstairs. They can't even find their way to the refrigerator. And because they have no common sense, they want to destroy someone else who has common sense, meaning that they try to control them through witchcraft. So that's why I say pray over your dreams. So when a person goes to sleep, they fighting in the spiritual realm. These enemies, these demons that are children of Satan, that's who they fighting. And it's all because they trying to take over their mind and destroy them. Transfer blessings and kill them off, sacrifice them. In the entertainment industry, it's they want puppets. So they want to be able to string people however they want. And when you have strong people who say no, that's why I say you got to be firm with your no. They say no. Once you say no, be prepared for a fight. Meaning be prayed up, have people praying for you, have a camp praying for you. Be prepared, because the enemy is going to try to get you to submit some kind of how, or they're going to try to make you suffer. And suffer is bondage. Suffer is taking away your money. Suffer is taking away your food. Suffer is whatever you own at that moment, you're no longer going to own, because they want to take it away from you. Suffer is sacrificing you. If they feel that you can't do nothing for them, but if they sacrifice you, they have something to gain, that's what they're going to try to do. Avarice, a thirst desire for money, possessions, and I added power. They want whatever you have. If you are, let's say, you say there's two siblings and you are going off to do great things in school, and you have a cousin and the cousin ain't doing so good, they gonna try to harm that other child. There was somebody I was talking to. Wow, who was I talking to? It was somebody. And I don't even remember. I think it was a lady. She was saying something about, I think it was her nephew, that growing up, she had a child and her sibling had a child, a brother or sister, and all of a sudden at a certain age the child just started having issues, and then they started to lose their mind, like they became started to get slow. I would say slow, because I don't want to say retarded. They started to be slow, and they started getting them checkups and all this other stuff. And she said something wasn't right, but she can't figure it out. But she knows it has something to do. I think it was with her sister. She knows it has something to do with her sister, because every time I think it's a son, he starts to get better and progress, then the sister will call out of nowhere or try to come and visit, and then that son will revert back to how he was before. I said, you need to pay attention to that. And sometimes you might have to distance yourself from people, go to God in prayer, and ask God what is really going on. Because it's every time she calls or tries to come around, then your son reverts back to how he was before. Let me tell you something. You see people all the time only because they are in the public eye, celebrities and all this other stuff. So that's the example I'm gonna use, where they were normal at one point and then all of a sudden they start going crazy, and then the world will say, oh, this person one day just went crazy. Really? You gotta ask some questions to God. What really happened? Because when people want to sit there and tamper with people's destinies, their mind, their soul, and their spirit, like their spirit starts to get weak where they can't pray anymore. And that's what I mean by spirit. When it starts to get weak where they can't pray, they can't do the things that they want to do, and they don't have the motivation, the enemy is trying to prevent them from praying to God. These enemies are so vicious and disgusting. I said what I said. Why? Because they will murder, rob a person of their food out their mouth when they try to tamper with their money. And they will try to even tamper with unborn children. That's why I keep saying pray over the kids, because once the kids is born and certain things be happening, sometimes these kids cannot talk about what they're going through. They don't know how. They're not old enough to articulate what's going on in their life. And these people are tampering with their life. And that's why I said I understood why the pastor said pray over unborn children as well. Because if the enemy sees that these kids is coming from whoever, like coming from a woman, or let's say the male sides of the family, they see this baby about to come, they start to do some things to prevent that from happening. And because you have some people that are ignorant, they would say, oh, well, what God has, no man can stop. Yeah, but that doesn't mean you should stop praying. Because you're supposed to pray that everything happens according to God's plan. He already promised it. That's an argument I be saying with some people sometimes. Like, we be going back and forth because they feel that they don't have to do no work, just the basics, because God already promised them and told them and all that other stuff. And the years is passing and they getting older and they can't figure out why it's not happening, and then they think God forgot and all this other stuff. They forgot that they were supposed to pray. So what I did last week was I did a test. The age range was teenagers all the way up to, I think, 70. I went around asking if a person offered you $1 million and you know this person was shady and this person had they just off. You heard that this person was off from from a number of people. Would you take the money? So I asked all these other people, like, if the person said, "Oh, come party with me," they partying is off the hook, like off the hook, all sorts of craziness going on. Anything you could think of that's crazy, that's what's going on. Would you take the $1 million? And a lot of people say, yeah. When it came to the teenagers, I was just like, okay, here we go. Well, teenagers and some young adults, I said, when the enemy offers you something, it never comes straight. Meaning that there's always going to be some fine print that says something else. And when I say fine print, I mean fine print, literally, or agenda that you don't see going on behind the scenes. So the enemy will say something like, yeah, $1 million, do this, do that, come here, and you just hang out. And then you get the $1 million and you realize it was more than what you thought. And then when you say no, that's when your spiritual warfare starts. That's when your spiritual warfare starts, where you can't shake this person, where this person is ending up in your dreams, doing some things, where you just, in the daytime, your mind is always consumed with this evil spirited person, where sometimes the fight is not with you, it could be you, your family, and it could be burdens. And it's because you accepted that. One of the things I always say to people is that, and this is what I've experienced, is that when people, not a person, people come to you from different areas and they say that person is not right, you're supposed to put it in the back of your head. You go to God in prayer, you say, God, tell me about that person. And you also do the pros and cons about what you heard. Because what I find is that when different people from different areas, say like different boroughs, come to you and say that person was talking about you, saying this, saying that, and all this other stuff, and those same people don't know each other, there has to be that what they said that person said is true. Even if the person who said it says, I would never say anything like that. But you know who would tell you it all? God. God will tell you exactly what they said. God will tell you that they said it. He may not even tell you exactly what they said, but he will tell you they said it. He will even tell you that they're dangerous. He will even tell you not to go around that person. Yeah. I had a situation recently where a person tried to get close to me as a friend, you know, and they was trying to gossip. And they didn't know me because I don't get down with all of that. So they tried to get close, and the next day I went home and I went to bed, and I slept, and when I woke up, I did my morning routine, and God said that person is dangerous. And then as the weeks progressed, I started to see what he meant. Yeah. And that's why I say, like, you have some people that they have this strong desire for money, possessions, and power, but they do not they cannot do it on their own because they don't want to. So they try to destroy other people's lives in doing so. They try to destroy. They will try to control them. They try to kill them. They try to do whatever, rob them, take food out of their mouth. And one of the things I say is that when you have people who turn down the evil, that's in front of them. That same evil person, entity, force tries to put that person in bondage. And that's why you got to pray to get out of bondage. Bondage could be anything. Bondage could be stuck in a specific mindset. Bondage could be stuck in fear. Bondage could be jail. Or a specific place. And bondage could even be stuck in a marriage that you've been fighting forever to get out of, because you know that the other person spirit is not right. But that person is the one that hooked you up with that person. Because in their head, they're saying, since you don't want to give me your money, I'm going to put you in bondage until you give it to me. Or since you don't want to give me your house, I'm going to put you in bondage until you give it to me. Or here's another one. Since you don't want to give me anything, I'm going to make you sick. And if you keep saying no, I'm going to try to kill you. That's what they try to do. But there's a God, like I say, Elohim, the creator, God, that you go to him with all your troubles and ask him to put your enemy under your footstool, and ask him to take you out of bondage, deliverance. Because some people, what people don't realize with some of these, and I'm talking about celebrities that were destroyed from kids, from childhood. What they don't understand, they think, oh, they older now, they just going crazy and all that other stuff. They need deliverance. Their mind is in fear. They have this fear of the enemy. Every time the person call, they get jittery. Every time the person call, they probably picking up drugs. Every time the person call, they can't sleep. Every time they feel their presence coming near, because their presence is that strong. Their demonic presence is that strong. They need deliverance. And the only reason why these people is attacking them is because they have that strong desire to control them, have power over them, money, and possessions. Avarice. So don't always look at it as money is the root of all evil. It's people. But what it boils down to, a large majority of the time, and I will agree on this, is money. A large majority of the time is money, where their strong desire, where they will want to harm someone and tear apart families and kill off parents and do all of that stuff, is money. It's a strong desire for money. Avarice. So that's one of the reasons why you got to pray over your mind. You got to protect yourself, protect your family, because the same way how some of you all is still here, thank God, is because somebody is praying for you. And sometimes it may be somebody that you don't even know that's praying for you. People who are single, you need to pray for your kingdom husband or kingdom wife. Yes. Because you don't know what they're going through, physically or mentally. They might be in bondage. God forbid. You got to pray for your unborn child, because just because you don't have children, you don't know what the enemy's part in the reason why. You don't know if you were going to birth someone who was going to become the greatest by God. Pray over your children. You don't know if your kids is going through things in school. They don't always talk about it because they don't know how. They're kids. Pray about your children. Pray all sorts of prayers. Pray about your parents. Because sometimes what I'm seeing is two siblings going at it, ready to hurt each other, and it's over money, but they trying to do things to the parents so they could get what they want. Yes, it's very important. These people out here, and what came to me, which I'm gonna go into detail next week, is pray about the men in this world. Because just like babies and kids, they don't always talk about what happened to them. So that's it for today. Sign up for a session if you want to work on closing those doors that the enemy has opened. Yes. And when I say enemy, sometimes there's rivalries between families, and you have that enemy that opened up doors way before you was born, and then there's a generational curse through the bloodline, and you might need to close those doors. Or there may be doors that you opened that you haven't identified. Sign up for a session. Or you might have some kind of situation you're going through currently, like fear, and you don't even realize. Sign up for a session. Love me more and I love you more. Check me out on YouTube, like, subscribe, click the notification, check out my store. In a few weeks, I am going to try, and I will let y'all know, to go live to answer some of the questions that's been coming at me. All right, later. Have a blessed one.